Hello, it's ElectraSnow, and in this video I'm going to be teaching you how to apply a bald cap. Start by brushing all your hair back and removing any piercings that could be in the way of ripping the cap. This product may look questionable, but it is a hair serum and you want to use one of those to slick your hair back. Grabbing all the hair as you go when you're doing this and pin it to the head as flat as you can. Then taking a wax, use this to slick back any baby hairs and keep them in place. Then wash your hands before handling the bald caps, as you don't want any residue on top of the latex. Now I've got two different types of bald cap here. The one on the right I'm showing you first, and this is just a cheap one bought from a costume shop. The quality of bald cap can differ greatly, and this one doesn't really have enough latex at the back, and it has these pointless little tabs on the side which pay no benefit at all. They're really only there to distinguish the side corners of the cap when applying it. This second bald cap is a professional one, and as you can see there is a lot more latex hanging at the back. This is so that you can apply it to the nape of your neck and blend it in seamlessly so it does actually look like you're bald. You'll also notice that the colour of the latex is a lot lighter, so it's much easier to blend into the skin with foundation shades. Now for the sake of the tutorial that I was about to film, I decided to go with the cheaper bald cap from the party shop, being as in this instance 90% of it would get covered up with fake hair. To start applying it, you want to put it on the same way as you would a swimming cap, because this is basically the same as one of them, it's a glorified swimming cap. Placing the front of the cap over my brow bone area and pulling the rest over the ponytail down to the nape of the neck. Having the front anchored at the brows helps greatly with stretching the latex back, as then when you have the back down you can just go in at the front and slowly ride it up so it matches in where you want it at your hairline. And when you're doing this, make sure you have those tab edges placed directly at both sides of your head. To adhere the bald cap down to my face, I decided to go in with liquid latex, but you could also use pros-aide for this step. You want to apply the adhesive around your temples and forehead, making sure that you don't get it anywhere near your hair, because it will slightly push out when you push the latex into it. To stick the cap down, just pull it directly out from the side of the head, making sure to keep it taut so you don't get any wrinkles as you push it into the adhesive. If the look you're creating doesn't require your ears to be exposed, you can leave them encased in the bald cap, but if you need to have them sticking out, just take a pair of scissors and slowly and very carefully cut a slit directly up in the bald cap, making sure to avoid cutting your hair. Now you can see that my hair did slip out ever so slightly here, but with what I'm creating, that's going to get covered up anyway. But if you was doing this to give a real nice bald effect, you'd make sure that you got all of those hairs encased in the cap and none of them were sticking out. And then once you have one side anchored down, repeat that process exactly the same on the other side. Now with the more professional bald cap, you would also go in and apply a little bit of pros-aide or liquid latex at the back of the ears and pull the bald cap at the back directly out into the sides, sticking it into that adhesive. This will just make sure that the back of all of your hair will be encased and hidden in the cap. And that would also get rid of the wrinkling that you can see at the top here of the cap. And I would be covering up 90% of all that work with fake hair anyway, so I just wanted to use what I had for the sake of this tutorial and get this one on there so it would cover up the front of my hair. This way I can also save the other bald cap for another look that requires a little bit more work in hiding my hair and getting a nice seamless bald head. And you want to make sure that you use what you have when you're making special effects things, because if you go out and buy new things every time, it can work out to be very expensive. Now that we have it applied, let's talk about concealing it. You want to take some more liquid latex and a stippling sponge, and you want to go around all the perimeters at the front near the forehead with several layers of this liquid latex to blend it into the skin. Now with this you're looking at anything between 4 to 7 layers depending on how thick the bald cap is. And to speed up the drying time between each one of those layers, you can go in and use a hairdryer. When that's all done, it's time to go in and add colour. Now for this you want to go into the ideas of thinking about colour correction. Now all hair has blue undertones, but my hair is actually blue itself, so for that you want to go in with an orange, and this will just knock out any dark undertones and really help in concealing the colour of your hair. However, on the other hand, if your hair is blonde or if the bald cap is extremely yellow, you want to go in something which has a very, very light violet tint. As if we're talking about colour correction, violet is the thing that counteracts yellow. You don't want to be going in with something which is straight up purple, because that would be almost impossible to cover when it comes to applying the skin tone, but just to knock out that yellow tint, if there is one in the cap, just go in with something which is very, very, very light but with a slight violet undertone. And for that you can just mix in a very, very tiny little drop of purple into the skin base that you're using. Once the correction is done, it's a case of going in with several different skin tones and blurring them all over the head so you get a nice full coverage and you can't see the cap shining through. And with each layer of those skin tones, you want to go in with some translucent fixing powder to set them all into place. In the end, I used about 4 different skin shades here. 2 were used to go over the orange, one to blur that in so that it didn't look so stark and bright tangoed. The other was then to make it a little bit more skin tone, and the other 2 were used on a stippling sponge just to add some texture into there, so like random pigmentation to look like real skin. Now you probably noticed that huge foam pad that I had there, and that is actually a piece of filter medium from a fish tank. Obviously it's brand new and clean, but that is exactly the same stuff that stippling sponges are made out of, but it's on a huge sheet form. You can just take a pair of scissors and cut off the size that you want, take that little piece, rip out some little chunks of it with your fingers, and then use that to stipple all different kinds of things over your face. Hashtag SFX Life Hacks. So yeah guys, I hope you learned something by watching this video, and you can use it to apply to anything it is that you're creating. All the products that I've used in this video will be listed down in the description below, as well as some links to the monster that I created with this tutorial, but you've probably met him already. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and until next time, bye bye!